So I was riding one day and I got a phone call from a buddy of mine, Tim. And he said, "What are you doing this week?" I said, "I'm doing what I'm doing every week, man. I'm writing songs. I'm booked up for 2 months, you know?" And he said, "No, you're not." I said, "What are you talking about?" "Yes, I am. I'm looking at my calendar." He said, "No, you're riding with me and Billy Gibbons on Thursday." And I said, "You are correct, sir. My entire calendar just opened up." So we went and met Billy. Great guy. So we get into the writing session. We ended up writing in a studio. He had his Les Paul with a little amp, and we were writing this song, and we got to talking about country music and the state of all music. And he said, "You know what country music needs? What it really needs? I don't know. What is it?" And in this dirty tone, like this real distortion, half acoustic tone, he starts singing, "I fall to pieces." And I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, I have to get this recorded. Of course I didn't, but it was such a magical moment to hear a rock and roll legend sing a classic country song like "I Fall to Pieces," written by Harlan Howard, by the way. And it was just such a cool moment. But anyway, so we finished the song, and he looks at me and said, "You need to come to Bobby's with us tonight." And I'm telling you right now, I didn't know who Bobby was, but I was about to find out, because when Billy Gibbons asks you to go somewhere, you just go. So little did I know that Bobby was Kid Rock. Kid Rock has a place in town, and in total Kid Rock fashion, we get there, and it's a double wide trailer wrapped in mossy oak camouflage. Most unbelievable view I've ever seen in my life. So anyway, so we're hanging out. So here I am, hanging out with just two legends, and me and Tim. And so anyway, we ended up at his barn, at Kid's barn, which is not a regular barn. It's got an entire bar in it. It's got, all of his toys are in it. So we're sitting there, and by this time, Billy's he's feeling no pain, put it that way. And they're watching television, and I can't even remember who it is now. This pop star comes on television. Not that there's anything wrong with any pop star, but it's very flashy, and they were dancing, and Billy was watching it, and he said, "You know what the difference between them and you and I are?" I was like, "I have no idea." He said, "The difference between them and you and I are they're about the flash and we're about the song." And he, like I said, he had a few, so then he just went down to one word. He said, "Flash, song." He kept saying, "Flash, song." And for me, all I knew was Billy Gibbons just put me in the same category as him in anything. And I'm like, I can die now. And so anyway, he did that, and it was just such a cool night, just unbelievable night. And before we got there, I want to go back a little bit. Before we got there, we stopped at this bar. It's on West End in Nashville. It's called Whiskey Rhythm. I don't even know if it's open anymore. But we're all sitting in there, and this guy comes up to Billy, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, here we go. They're starting to recognize him because he has the hat on. You know the hat he always wears. And this guy comes up to him. He says, Mr. Gibbons, I'm such a huge fan of yours. And Billy's holding a drink. And he goes, oh, yeah? He goes, I've loved your stuff my whole life. He said, but I have a question I've been wanting to ask you for 20 years. And Billy looks at him and goes, okay. And he said, when you sign your name, you sign it Billy F. Gibbons. What does the F really stand for? And without missing a beat, Billy has his drink and he looks over to the guy and he says, Texas. You could have knocked that guy over with a feather. It was like he was just addled, and the guy was just kind of like, oh, okay, and he kind of walked off. To me, that is the kind of character that I miss in an artist. Someone who is themselves no matter what. And Billy Gibbons is Billy Gibbons no matter who is there, and I love that. But anyway, that was my experience with riding with Billy Gibbons, and one of the craziest days I'll ever live.